Yo, what it do, GG Nation, GG Legions, your fellow again, Strassman, the GG. Yo, welcome to another video. Yeah, it's been a while since we did a video, not a podcast today. I got Skip to my loot with me, but I do want to apologize. It's been a minute since our last podcast. I did watch Gamescom, but I thought about it, and I end up not wanting to do a pod or anything about it because I had lower expectations of it anyway, but I didn't think it was bad at all. I thought it was all right, but too much time passed, and I was like, let's wait on it. I've been wanting to do this video for a while. We've been a little busy. It's been so delayed, this video, that we actually beat the game, as you will see in the title, and platinum it. platinum the game. But next week, I'm going to try to wrangle JJ for the next podcast because I want to talk about that Nintendo Direct and Sony State of Play. Both of those I thought were really awesome. And we're going to talk a little bit of Assassin's Creed Mirage, so try to stay tuned for that. I'm going to try to wrangle JJ. Lou's been a little busy, so forgive us. Time has just been flying by. Very, very exciting stuff coming out. God of War is on the horizon. So we're kind of ready for that spoiler cast. We might do a spoiler cast of this. I don't know. Maybe down the road, we'll see. Because it was for me anyway. It was a fun ride again. It was a really fun ride. But obviously, you guys see the title of the video as I finally go full screen here. Last of Us Part 1 in 2022. Almost 9 years later, a game from 2013. It was re-released on PS4 in 2014, 15, I think.
About that, yeah.
It was like a year after. It wasn't too long. But this was a remake, and I saw a lot of people were very lukewarm because price tag, yes, $70 is quite a steep price for a game you have technically played before. And this is not like Resident Evil 2, 3, or Final Fantasy 7 Remake, where it's a lot of it's very, very new. This is literally the same game you played in 2013. I mean, it's shot for shot, kind of like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro Trilogy. But I like these type of remakes too. But they've put a lot of time and effort in this. So we're just going to talk about our experiences about it. And we're not here to sway you to buy it, because I do think this game will have a big surgence in Black Friday, Christmas. And maybe third time is not the charm. It has its lowest Metacritic score, which is an 88, 89, which is not awful by any means. That's pretty damn good. I think a lot of games wish they would have a score like that. But going from the other two, from going to 95 to this, but let's get into it. What was your trip down memory lane for Last of Us Part 1 remake, the PS5 version, Lou? Also, this was your game of the decade, right? Back then?
Yeah. Quickly, as I started to play it, I remembered why it was my game of the decade. It was really good. Again, it's good to play that game again with everything that was going on with Part 2, and to get a reminder why this game and what they've built already was so crucial to what was going on and the debates that people were arguing about in terms of the gameplay and the story, because everything that happened in 1, it just felt like a different experience in 2.
Yeah.
And 1, going back and revisiting, and just the whole journey between Joel and Ellie, like after not playing it probably since 2015 again, you just go down memory lane and you are reminded why this game was so good, why this game was my game of the decade in particular, and why a lot of people are so passionate about the first game.
You brought up several great points there, especially with Part 1, because I really think a lot of people forget forgot about part one, even though it won over 200 Game of the Year awards. A lot of people, I mentioned this on the Last of Us Part 2 spoiler cast um, with JJ, is that I think a lot of people really forgot about part one because a lot of people didn't play part one when they got right into part two. They just jumped right into part two and got really defensive about it. And part two for me, I definitely didn't like the story or anything like that, but it had a lot of good in it in terms of visuals, graphically. The gameplay was awesome, the enemy AI, stuff like that. But the characters and the story development, I think, was a lot of wasted potential. You know, a lot of people defend Ellie in that game, but I don't really like Ellie in part two at all. I think she's a terrible character. And I did
Which is
replay
so
part.
shocking.
I
Which
re
is so shocking.
Yeah, it was. It was. Part one, I did replay right before part two came out. Literally the week before. It was my first time in like 7 years in that time to play it. And I'm like, let me replay this. It's 13. It's a 6 year old game. You know, it was 2019 at the time. And I'm like, let me see if this holds up. And for me, it did. And then when I went to part two, I was able to very much have both games very fresh in my mind, and it was no contest to me in terms of story. Like the first game was it was excellent. It was really fun. I really like Ellie in the first game in particular. Her and Joel make such a great duo, and the bond that they have to form becomes very natural. It feels very natural. Obviously, these are actors. It's motion capture and but when
Yeah.
things feel real, and that game felt real, even the take on zombies, clickers, a fungal virus that eats your face away, brilliant idea, very very brilliant idea. Game by no means. I want to this game, the remake for PS5. Damn, like they really spent a lot of money. They reworked everything visually. This game, like Sony, this is why people really love a lot of the Sony first party games because they are just beautiful. Like, damn, they are gorgeous. Like, even playing with the 3D audio, 3D audio headset I have.
The only thing
Go ahead.
the only thing they didn't rework, right, was the voice acting. They just kept that the same, right? The
They,
voice actors are the same.
everybody's the same. All the lines
Yeah,
are the
they just
same.
took it from the first game. Yeah.
Everything's the same. Even the scenarios and everything. I know they mentioned, which they did lie about. This was bad. They said they were gonna add stuff from part two. And the only thing they added from part two, and I don't mean story stuff, that's not what I mean. Like the good stuff, like, enemy AI, the combat
Yeah.
scenarios, you could, what's it called? Prone, stuff like that. The only thing they added from part two, they didn't add any of that shit. The only thing they added from part two, and they lied about it, but the only thing they added from part two was the workbench stuff. Working on the guns where you take it apart and stuff, which was excellent looking. I really liked that. In part two, I thought that was pretty cool. Like they literally somebody sat there probably for like 30 hours animating all those sequences. But it was hella impressive. Whoever did that was really good. That was the only thing they added in part two. This game was literally the same. Audio ripped from the first game. Everything. The motion capture. They didn't re-motion capture anything. A lot of people said they added Abby's father at the end, but I mean, you and me played it, and it didn't really look like him at all. It just kind of looked like
No.
a generic white guy to me. It didn't really look like anybody.
No. It looked like just like a default character.
Hmm.
Like they didn't even bother to really change that,
Yeah.
which is fine for me.
Yeah.
Not because I'm not a big fan of part two, but just keeping the origins of the remake, keeping everything basically the same, and just making everything graphically better.
Yeah. I
So
like I said,
and the
I like
gameplay.
remakes like this. Like shot for shot remakes are fine. I think they're great. But go ahead, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and the bow too was the other thing that really stood out for me. You mentioned it as well, but the bow, I remember never using it
Yeah,
in
I didn't like it
PS4
in the original.
remastered version.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never used it. It just felt so clunky, and it didn't feel like it was a one hit type of kill type thing. and it felt more and more that it felt legit. Like headshots felt like headshots.
The bow did feel
Even
significantly better in this game. I did really like the bow.
yep, yep. It just felt so much better. It was. I personally speaking, I think that this is a good remake, even for the $70. I know that a lot of people are gonna have two in the back of their minds when they play this game,
Yes.
but take two out of your mind and just play this game and take all your emotions, how you feel, and just remember why this game was great. And so, some people are gonna be angry at what happened with two, or maybe they'll be angry the other way around.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Very true.
but just play this game and see why. See the other side if you like to. See the other side why people really like this game. Because there's some people out there that haven't played it since it came out. Maybe since PS3. PS4 when it came out.
That's such a
So
great point. And if you remember a few pods ago, I mentioned that this remake would have one good purpose, and that was it. Literally, what you said was to remind people how really good this game was. Like, it is a very special game. They had a special sauce to this game. Like, Ellie and Joel were really good. So that's why it was so weird in part two that they strayed away from that. But that's another conversation for another day. Like, but this was really fun, man. I beat it and platinum it pretty damn quick, and I was in the middle of Soul Hacker. I was towards the not the middle, but I was at the end of Soul Hackers 2. So I wasn't even playing this game right away, but once I beat Soul Hackers 2, technically twice. Thank you, Saves. Thank you, Saves. I went like in like two days. I like crushed this game in platinum, and I was like, damn, like I was nice. I was just having so much fun. It didn't even feel like I put that much time in this game, and that's the special sauce of this game. I know a lot of people, third time's not the charm on this. The gameplay scenarios are boring compared to two and stuff, but to me, it wasn't like that. I like this game a lot. I like the combat. I like the brutality in this game. The animations and the gore effects in this game, like in the remake, are excellent. I did have some funny glitches here and there. I did upload some clips to
yeah,
everybody. I did have like Ellie got stuck in a locker when I used the shiv door, and then Tess was freaking out during a particular time. But I think a lot of people, I think this is really good to go back memory lane. Like I said, I think this is going to have a big boost. Black Friday, Christmas. When this game goes on sale, I think people are it's gonna skyrocket it. A very interesting statistic was, I think Saints Row outsold this game the first week it came out, which is in Europe, in the UK, which is very interesting because Europe loves especially the United Kingdom. They love their Sony exclusives, so it's interesting to see that. And I think the sales will get up there. I think they'll make more than enough. I do feel like after playing this was the smart move. I think it was, maybe it was the calculated move to get this in the good graces of people's minds again, like we just talked about. But I think it's worth a walk down memory lane, man. I had a lot of fun. It felt really smooth. This game, a lot of people feel like the first game feels really stiff. I feel like they really fixed that with this remake. This game felt really smooth. I felt like Joel and Ellie had all really good control when I was controlling them. They responded very well. Naughty Dog's traditional look and feel to it.
that's the thing too. Is when you watch, well, you played part two, but
Yes.
I watched part two because I refused to buy the game. I won't get into specifics, but it looked very clean. The gameplay of that game looked very clean, and I think they adapted some of that over to part one.
Yeah, definitely the
So,
feel of it. I wish we had got the other stuff though.
yeah, and it didn't feel very clunky. It felt pretty. It felt like a smooth ride. I did get a glitch where Ellie just zoomed to a certain spot, and
That
just
was
skip
pretty
the
funny
whole
too.
part.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was supposed to get a wrap and bring her over. She just came over. I was like, okay. Like that was the
Yeah.
whole point of me going over there. But yeah, I mean, and I had a couple of glitch trophies, but that's really nothing new for me.
Yeah,
That
Lou.
happens a lot.
Unfortunately, Lou has a thing with glitch trophies, or glitch trophies have a thing for Lou, I should say. It's a bummer.
And it doesn't matter. PS4, PS5, the different systems for some reason just does not fucking matter. I will.
Yeah. But
So
that was just our experiences of Last of Us Part 1 remake. It was a nice trip down memory lane for me, even after I played it only a couple of years ago. But this remake I thought, was pretty excellent. I mean, there was a lot of hard work and effort put into it. Yes, is it not is it not like Resident Evil 2 and Final Fantasy 7 remake where they put some newer stuff into it? No, it's a shot for shot remake, which is fine. I like those a lot too. Those exist. It was really good. I think people are gonna jump back into this one. I know part 2 really ruined it for a lot of people, and I will obviously, you can see why if you just go even watch the first couple hours of that game. You can see why, and it's just not just that. It's just there's a lot to it. JJ and I did like a 3-hour spoiler cast. If you want to go check that
well,
out, a part 2. Go ahead, Luke.
they developed such a great story in one, and I
It,
kind of wish that it carried over.
it was really odd to me. I
Yeah,
really felt like part 2 was part 3. I felt like we're missing something. But go ahead.
but Ellie's development, like I was going back and playing it, and I was like, man, Ellie was such a great character. Joel was a good character, and we can debate all we want about the ending. Would you have done the same thing?
No debate
Uh,
here, man. The ending was
there's
fine. Ending was
yeah,
fine. There was
yeah,
no
there's
issue. I mean,
yeah, there's
Rick from Walking
no debate
Dead,
here.
any zombie apocalypse thing, people will be doing the
Yeah,
same thing. It was fine. The ending was great. Actually, I liked it a
yeah,
lot. I think
but
people that think about that maybe think a little too much. And
yeah,
honestly, I think it was their purpose, yeah, to do that because they wanted you to think like, oh, okay, is that? But I had no
I
issue with it. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think it was more of a way to justify Joel's death, and spoilers for those for
Oh
two.
my God! How dare you, Lou?
Well, it's I'm gonna use the JJ method here. It's been 2 years,
Yeah. We did a whole
so
spoiler cast on it. Everybody
yeah,
knows that part anyway. Also,
yeah,
to your point, I think that's just a crutch. That's a weak excuse
hmm
for part
hmm
2, in my personal opinion.
yep, yep. I really just look back on it, and man, they just, to me, everything that they were building, they just didn't build from it. It was kind of like they almost knocked it down to put one character over, and
Hmm.
that was Abby. But again, I'm not going to go too far into it.
Yeah,
Part one was
we've been
part
down that
one
road.
was yeah, part one was phenomenal. I suggest everybody go and buy it if you really liked
Damn
it.
it, Lou! We
If
just
you,
said we weren't here to sway the people.
hey, we're not swaying the people. I'm giving my opinion.
Go
All right.
ahead. Go
I'm,
ahead.
I'm giving my opinion. That's all. I'm not swaying. I'm not trying to sway you. I'm saying that if you're in the middle here and you don't know if you want to buy it or not, or part two is in the back of your mind, and you really like the first one, wait for a sale or wait till it gets on premium. I'm pretty sure it'll be on premium. I'm pretty sure that this and part two will eventually be on premium.
Yeah,
So,
Premium has been
and
so good to us too lately. For me, anyway, there's so many great games for me.
yeah, and play it and just shut up your mind and see
Just enjoy it.
and
Just act like part
enjoy
two
it.
isn't there, which a lot of you already do anyway. But
Yeah.
if Lou's right, if you're kind of in the middle, I say kind of dive into it, man. It's a worthy play in 2022, man. There's a reason why this game doesn't go away, and it is visually improved. Like it looks so much better than the remaster in the PS3 version. I mean, this game, they spent a lot of money rebuilding those character models. Like, damn, it was very impressive. And also, now I live in a 4K world. And man, wow, I was blown away visually. Every time a new Sony exclusive comes out, it's like damn, they like always top each other. Cannot wait to see God of War in that 4K on my TV. But we'll try to be back next
Mm-hmm.
week. We'll try to be back next week for a pod. I do really want that Nintendo Direct and fucking State of Play was killer for me. I mean, some of the dreams come true for me, especially as a Fire Emblem Pikmin fan. Like that's insane. That's sick. And then like some of the new stuff, we're getting so much more Yakuza stuff, and Sony's really smart partnering with lots of different companies and getting exclusives on their console, and it's very cool. It's very cool. We'll talk about it down the road. This was only supposed to be 10 minutes, sorta, but I do thank Skip to Lou for his time. We just wanted to go and tell you our experiences of the remake because it's been a interesting conversation in personal opinion. I was shocked how good I mean how I want to not say badly reviewed, but not as good as the original reviews. I mean, again, 89 Metacritic's awesome. Like it's a great score. But I've been your fellow Strauss man, the GG. That's Skip to my Lou. We're outie.
See ya. Namaste.